Yuktaha Pranapana Sama Yuktaha Pachami Anam Chatur Vidham Deham Ashrita. Word for word. Aham, I, Vaishvanara, my plenary portion as the digesting fire. Bhutva, becoming. Praninam, of all living entities. Deham, in the bodies. Ashritaha, situated. Prana, the outgoing air. Apana, the down-going air. Samayuktaha, keeping in balance. Pachami, I digest. Anam, foodstuff. Chatur Vidham, the four kinds. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Messiah Pujalaya Shamari Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunibadi Paschati Deshatarine Om Agana Timaram Dasha Ganam Gana Salataya Chaksurun Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation of the verse. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. According to Ayurvedic Shastra, we understand that there is a fire in the stomach which digests all food sent there. When the fire is not blazing, there is no hunger. And when the fire is in order, we become hungry. Sometimes when the fire is not going nicely, treatment is required. In any case, this fire is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedic mantras, Brihad Aranakya Upanishad 591, also confirm that the Supreme Lord, or Brahman, is situated in the form of fire within the stomach and is digesting all kinds of foodstuff. Ayam Agnir Vaishnaro Yoham Anta Purush Yenidam Anam Ajate. Therefore, since he is helping the digestion of all kinds of foodstuff, the living entity is not independent in the eating process. Unless the Supreme Lord helps him in digesting, there is no possibility of eating. He thus produces and digest foodstuff, and by his grace, we are enjoying life. In the Vedanta Sutra 1.2.27, this is also confirmed. Sabda dirvyo nata pratistha anacha. The Lord is situated within sound and within the body, within the air, and even within the stomach as the digestive force. There are 4 kinds of foodstuffs. Some are drunk, some are chewed, some are licked up, and some are sucked. And he is the digestive force for all of them. So, in digestion, where is the first step of digestion? Is it when the foodstuff goes into the belly? No. It's in the mouth. And we have a tendency to not chew what we put into our mouth, isn't it? So the tongue has 2 functions: vibrating sound and tasting. So in tasting, when we eat, if we put the food in the mouth, if we put the prasadam in the mouth and we chew it twice and swallow it, what happens? The tongue says, that was interesting, but it wasn't here very long. I'm going to have another bite. So in this way, if we keep putting prasadam in our mouth and chewing it once or twice, the poor tongue is going to be very frustrated. He'll keep saying, that was interesting, but it wasn't here very long. Therefore, I'm going to have to take another bite. And before long, what happens? We overeat. So, if we keep the prasadam in our mouth, and we chew it, and we chew it, and we chew it, and we start to really relish, wow, that is interesting. Krishna in the form of pakoras, Krishna in the form of sabji, Krishna in the form of gulab jamans, Krishna in the form of sweet rice, and the tongue becomes satisfied. So it's very important that we satisfy the tongue, because Prabhupada tells us, of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. But you, dear Lord Krishna, you have given us this nice Krishna prasadam, just to conquer over the tongue. So now let us take this prasadam to our full satisfaction and call upon your Lordship, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and Prabhu Nityananda, for all your mercy to help us control the tongue. So, we can control the tongue by taking prasadam and not swallowing it right away, but chewing it. And the tongue becomes satisfied. And what happens during that process of chewing? The saliva is mixed with the prasadam. That's the first step of digestion. And if we chew and we chew and we really relish the pakoras or whatever it is, that whatever type of prasadam we're honoring at the moment, then that first step of digestion is started. We're adding Krishna. We're helping digest. And so, the prasadam goes into the stomach. And that's where the fire is. But we've already helped the fire. We've already helped Krishna. He doesn't need any help really. But we've given him help by chewing the food nicely. So it's, in some cases, if we chew until it's liquid, it's going to be much easier to digest. And the fire of digestion will have a much easier time in digesting what is there and sending it, assimilating it The stomach sends it out to all the different parts of the body. And what happens when we chew our prasadam until it's liquid? The tongue is tasting. We eat less because the muscles in the jaw become tired, isn't it? Like when we're talking too much, the muscles in the jaw become tired sometimes. So when we eat less, then we'll find that we also have more energy to do more service. And we also will be sleeping less because we're spending less time digesting. So you try it and see. It works. It's a theory that works, but you have to try it to see. So another part of what we just read is that when you eat, the air has to come in and has to go out. So when you take a bite of prasadam, take some air in with it. If there's no oxygen, there's no fire. Fire will not burn without oxygen. So when you take a mouthful of prasadam, take some air in with it, and chew and chew and chew. And then when you swallow, you can exhale. So I'd like to back up just a little bit. Where does the food that we eat come from? Where does the boga that goes into the prasadam that we eat come from? Okay, it comes from the earth. So my next question is, how many references are there in Bhagavad Gita to agriculture? So we'll break agriculture into two words, agri and culture. The culture of the land. So this exercise that we're going to do now is so that we can see in a Vaishya lifestyle where we're working with oxen, we're working with cows, we're working with the gardens, we're working with raising crops. It's not a tedious chore. Although we may be working out in the sun, we may be sweating, we may be getting dirty. It's really not work. And if we can try and see these activities through Bhagavad Gita, then we can try and see Krishna in all of these activities. So, how many references are there to agriculture in Bhagavad Gita? Who has the first reference? Mataji.
In the third chapter, Krishna speaks about the rains producing rains.
Okay. But we have to back up even a little bit more before we get to the rain. So hold that reference. So how do we prepare the soil so that we can plant? Krishna tells us, and this we'll jump over to Srimad Bhagavatam 1:16-18, where Prabhupada says the duty of the bull, the dharma of the bull, is to plow the agricultural fields and provide food grains. Okay? So it's very important that we show the importance of the bulls, that they're more valuable alive than dead. Okay? So the bull is plowing the fields so that we can plant the grain seeds. Okay? And when he's plowing the fields, Mother Bhumi is going, oh, she's getting a massage, the bull is walking. And so Mother Bhumi is getting a massage instead of the tractor, bouncing up and down. And so Mother Bhumi, Mother Earth, she's, it's such a nice feeling. Dharma, he's walking on me. And sometimes he may pass urine, and sometimes he may pass dung while he's walking. But she's very happy that she's getting this massage. And so during the process of plowing, there's another reference that we find in Bhagavad Gita. that Krishna says that he is the fragrance of the earth. So we're not smelling diesel fumes and like that. But as we're walking on the earth with the bulls and the dirt is being plowed, we can actually smell the fragrance of the earth. Next time you see some bulls plowing, you should go and walk along with them and see the fragrance of the earth. Actually, there are many, many different fragrances of the earth, but this is the primal one. Every flower is a representation of fragrance of the earth. Frangipani, jasmine, roses, these are all different representations. Even the fruit, when you cut a lime, there's a fragrance. This is also a fragrance of the earth. So now we've plowed. We've smelled the fragrance of the earth. And what's the next that we need to do? What's the next? The seeds. And what does Krishna say about seeds? Krishna said, I am the seed-giving father of all living entities. So the seeds that we're holding in our hands, these are representatives of Krishna's potency. And actually Krishna, he is the supreme software programmer. Because in every type of seed, there's a different program. There's a rice program, there's a wheat program, there's a bindi program, Karela program. So nowadays we have these different software companies, and so many people are writing software like this. But Krishna, he is the supreme software writer. Okay? So now Krishna has given us all these seeds. So the seeds go in the ground. And then what is the next element which is needed? So Krishna also says that he is the taste of water. So all of these steps that we are going through, we can remember Krishna. And that's the point of our lives, is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Okay? So, the seeds are in the ground, the rain has come. The rain has come by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Jaga has been performed. And after a few days, what happens? We go to the field, and what do we see? So many little sprouts have poked their heads above ground. So we have seen now that all these living entities have come. So as they grow, we get a chance to serve them. These are living entities. They're devotees, actually, because they've taken birth on the down. They're part of the activities of what we're doing to serve Guru and Krishna. So a whole new wave of devotees has appeared, and we get to serve them in their service to Guru and Gauranga. So as they grow, we have to be very careful that we keep the weeds away so that they don't get choked. Okay. Is Srila Prabhupada a gardener? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. In what way is he a gardener? Okay. So in a couple of ways, Prabhupada is a gardener. He also plants within our hearts a Bhakti Lata beach, the creeper of devotional service. And he gives us instructions how to take care of that creeper so it can flourish, so it doesn't get choked out by weeds, by offenses like this. Prabhupada also, every time a book is distributed, one of Prabhupada's books, this is a seed that is being planted in the hands of another living entity. Here, read this. It will solve all of your problems. So Prabhupada also, he's a master gardener. Look at all these books behind. Look at all the different languages that they represent. So Prabhupada's seeds are being planted all over the world in so many languages. So these little creepers are growing, they're growing, they're growing, and we have to serve them so they don't get hurt in any way. And when we get to the part where they're almost ready to bear fruit, we have to make sure once again that everything is very comfortable for them. So at this point, we can reflect on dasa dasa unadas. We're serving other living entities who are here to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay? And in this service, especially in the gardens, especially working with the animals, how many times do we have to bow our heads? When we're planting seeds, we have to bow our heads. When we're keeping the weeds away, we have to bow our heads. So Krishna is the one who is supplying all the ingredients. I can't produce seeds, I can't produce water, I can't produce sunlight, which is another verse that we can look for in agriculture. I can't provide any of these ingredients. Therefore, my part in this whole equation is servant of the servant, 100 times a servant of the pure devotee or Lord Krishna. Krishna is the one who is doing everything. Okay? So now we come back to the Bhakta tomato. And now his fruits are there, and they're nice and red. So we come and say, oh, my dear Prabhu, Bhakta tomato, let me take the fruits of your labor. Let me take them to the kitchen, and I'll ask, cooks, can you please make some nice tomato chutney for Radharani? And they'll say, oh, yes, of course. And they'll make the nice preparation. Then they'll go to the pujari when all the preparations for the offering are ready, and they'll hand the plate over to the pujaris, and the pujaris will offer the prasadam to Guru and Gauranga, Sri Sri Radhisham, Krishna Balaram. And we can go back to Bhakta tomatoes. Oh, Prabhu, Radharani had tomato chutney today. Oh, I'm so happy for you. The fruits of your labor are being offered to Guru and Gauranga and Radhisham and Krishna Balaram. So we're very happy that this living entity, this is a perfection of his life, that the fruits of his labor are being offered for the pleasure of the Lord. Or let's say we're growing flowers, Bhaktin marigold or Bhaktin rose or Bhaktin bela. And again, we've planted, we've taken all these seeds, and right from birth, we know these living entities. We've been serving them from when they first appeared. So we've developed a relationship. And the bigger they get, the more close to the fruits of their labor being ready to offer, we become more and more excited for them that in this life it's perfect and complete based on service. And we come and we pluck the flowers. And we might be the ones making the garlands. I mean, when the curtains open in the morning, the garlands are just fantastic. And when the curtains open and we see these garlands sitting on the Lord's chest, it's so exciting. And we can go back to, Bhaktin Marigold or Bhaktin Rose or whoever the Bhaktins are who are in these living entity bodies, in these different flower bodies. And we can see, oh, you should have seen the garlands today on Krishna's chest. Oh, they were so beautiful. Thank you so much for supplying the flowers for them. And the flowers in Radharani's hand, oh, the bouquet was just exquisite. So we have to ask ourselves, who are these living entities? The fruits of their labor are sitting right on the chest of the Lord. They're being held in the hand of Radharani. These are not ordinary living entities. They've come to the Dham to provide service, to provide the boga, the flower boga, for these garlands, for these bouquets, to provide the boga for the foodstuff that the Lord is eating, that we can chew very nicely, so the fire of digestion in the belly has an easier time of digesting. So the moon is also very important. Prabhupada explains in Bhagavad Gita that it is by the rays of the moon that provides the juicy qualities of the vegetables. And the sun is providing the heat and the light also, so that the vegetables can grow. And what about seasons? Krishna says of seasons, he is flower-bearing spring. Everybody's looking forward to spring, especially in North America. The last 2 winters were terrible. Where I live, very close to New Vrindavan, it was minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And we got maybe 4 foot of snow during the whole season. But cities like Boston, they got 8 foot of snow. It was like incredible amounts of snow. The whole town was crippled. So we were very much looking forward to Krishna in the form of flower-bearing spring. So gardening is not, it can be perceived as a hard service because you're out in the sun, you're getting sunburned. But if we can see these different qualities from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says that he is, then we can see that we're completely surrounded by Krishna while we're working with the bulls or milking the cows or weeding the gardens so that the creepers don't get choked out. And every once in a while, a breeze will come and cool us off a little bit. What does Krishna say about wind? He says, of purifying agents, I am the wind. So when we're feeling this wind, it's almost like we're getting a hug from Krishna. He's cooling us off. He's saying, you're doing very nice service. So here's a little breeze. Sometimes it's a big breeze. But in this way, this so-called hard work isn't really hard work. It's just playing in the dirt, serving other living entities. So these are Vaishya activities. and they're very important. Lord Krishna is also telling us what are the activities of the Vaishyas. Krishi, Goraksha, Vanija. Krishi is agriculture, specifically using the bulls. Goraksha is cow protection. Vanijam is trade. So if we analyze what is trade, all the ingredients, they're all coming from the earth. The cloth that we're wearing is coming from the earth. Prabhupada said there's 4 problems that we have to solve. Where's food? Where's shelter? Where's cloth? Where's medicine? And these all come from Vaishya activities. So, if we can become more and more involved in Vaishya activities, specifically those dealing with agriculture, as opposed nowadays in Kali Yuga, everybody's saying, yes, I'm a Vaishya, I'm working for a cell phone company, I'm working for programming software, and yeah, it may be a form of Vaishya activities, but Krishna isn't saying anything about that. Oh, Krishna says about trade. Okay, Haribol. But in order for you to do any kind of business, you have to be able to be healthy and have some energy. And that all comes from being able to eat nicely. And that comes from Krishi Goraksha. So, any questions yet? When we're involved in Krishi and working with the bulls, Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us that the bulls are the representative of Dharma. And when we're working with the cows, Srila Prabhupada explains to us that the cow, the deity of the earth planet, Bhumi, takes the form of a cow. So when we're engaged in working with the cows and bulls, these are not ordinary living entities. And especially in Kali Yuga, where Kali, he's waited for Lord Krishna to wrap up his pastimes and leave the planet, and all of his associates have left, and then he comes and he starts making trouble for the cows and bulls by beating them. So we have this responsibility of protecting Mother Bhumi and Dharma the bull. And by protecting them, it gives the potency that the 4 pillars of religious life, of which in Kali Yuga there's only one which is still standing, which is truthfulness, and even that is really shaky, that these qualities can once again start to develop within the social order of things. Truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, and austerity. But we really have to protect the cows and the bulls. Not just milking, that's part of protection. But protecting the bulls means that we show that they are more valuable alive than dead. That means that we need to train them and give them service. It's a little easy in India because it's part of the culture, even though India is the biggest producer of leather in the world. There's certain Muslim countries where we need to show through agriculture, because in certain Muslim countries it's not going to be very easy to preach. But we can show And I've seen when I traveled with bulls and gone through, we traveled with oxen for 5 years in America, going to the Rath Yatras and different county fairs, and we'd have to pass through certain places like Wyoming and Montana, and these are states which are just 100% raising cattle for slaughter. And we'd pull into a service station to get gas, and these cowboys would come over and look at our big oxen. Mighty fine looking cows you got there. And they didn't say anything about, boy, they sure look nice on a barbecue grill, and they were just impressed. And on the bus it says International Society for Cow Protection. So by showing the value of the cows and the bulls, we can start to turn back this cow slaughter, which Srila Prabhupada said is, he refers to killing the cows as these greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the problems in present society. This is in the purport of 117.3. So if people can see that they're more valuable alive than dead, then we can start to turn back. Even if they're not giving milk, even if they're not able to work anymore, they're still going to give urine, which is used for medicine. It's also used for agriculture. They're still going to give dung. In America, cow's dung is referred to as farmer's gold. It's the best organic fertilizer. So until their dying day, they're still passing urine, still producing dung, still valuable. So all of this goes on before we can actually take the first bite of prasada. Plowing goes on, smelling the fragrance of the earth, Krishna giving the seeds, the rain coming, the seeds germinating, us being allowed to dasa dasa onadas, serve these living entities in their service to Guru and Gauranga. Taking the fruits of the labor when they're ready, offering to Krishna before we can even take the first bite, and then understand how Krishna as the fire of digestion is working, and how the tongue becomes satisfied. Any questions? What's for prasadam? Well, sweet rice. 4 types of prasadam. Chewed, licked, drunk. There are 4 kinds of foodstuffs. Some are drunk, some are chewed, some are licked up, and some are sucked. So, for drinking, what would we like to have to offer to the Lord? Milk? Lassi, okay. And what about chewed? Nuts, okay. Maybe some cashew nuts. And licked up. Ice cream? Drumstick. Okay. And some are sucked. Oh, yeah, drumsticks. Okay. How about mangoes for sucked also? And licked up. Rasamalai? Anyway, this is a class that I give as a garden class, especially to devotees. Trying to get them out in the gardens, and sometimes it works. At Gitanagari, many years ago, in the spring there's always rocks that appear in the fields. It's a phenomenon that every spring you have to, before you can plant or even plow, you have to go out in the fields and get all the rocks out of the field. So we would tell the young boys in the ashram, how would you like to go to a rock and roll party? It works once. And after they, finish the day of rolling rocks onto the sleds to get them out of the fields, you can't fool them again. But it's these activities that Krishna is giving us as Vaishyas, Krishi and Gauraksha, that we can understand their importance. They're based on the cows, they're based on the bulls, they're based on the culture of the land, which Lord Krishna has shown us in his pastimes in Krishna book. He appeared in the family of Vaishyas, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda. And even as a young boy, 5-year-old boy, Nanda Maharaj was letting him take the calves out to the pasturing grounds. They weren't, the calves, they weren't staying in the pen all day. They were, Krishna and his cowherd friends, they were taking the calves, they were going out in the fields and the different forests, and after a while the calves they're full and they sit down and they're chewing their cud. So Krishna and his cowherd friends, they also sit down, they have their lunch packets, and they sit down and they open their packets and they have prasadam and they play games and like that. So we're being shown these activities. And Krishna, Srila Prabhupada gives another verse in the Bhagavatam, 8:24-5, where Krishna, Prabhupada says in the purport that Krishna purposely appeared in a family of cowherds and showed personally how to take care of the cows and calves. And it goes on to say that without cow protection, Brahminical culture cannot be maintained. And without Brahminical culture, the aim of life cannot be fulfilled. So these are very... Krishna did this on purpose. And he showed us personally how to take care of the cows and calves. So, everybody will be in the gardens tomorrow? Anyway, any questions? Thank you very much.